데미안 네 번째 시간입니다. 17쪽 아래에서 네 번째 줄부터 거기 핑크하고 블루로 표시된 부분부터예요. 자, 들어가 볼까요? After a while, we sat down. Fred spit into the water, and he looked like a man. He spit through a gap between his teeth and hit whatever he aimed at. A conversation started up, and the boys began boasting and heaping praise on themselves for all sorts of schoolboy heroics and tricks they had played. I kept quiet and yet was afraid I'd be noticed, that my silence might particularly incur Cromer's wrath. My two friends had begun to shun me the very moment Francie Cromer had joined us. I was a stranger among them and felt that my manners and clothes presented a kind of challenge. As a Latin schoolboy, the spoiled son of a well-to-do father, it would be impossible for Francie to like me, and the other two, I felt acutely, would soon disown and desert me. Let's move the screen up. Finally, out of sheer nervousness, I began telling a story too. I invented a long tale about a robbery in which I filled the role of a hero. In a garden near the mill, I said, together with a friend, I had stolen a whole sackful of apples one night, and by no means ordinary apples, but apples of the very best sort. It was the fear of the moment that made me seek refuge in this story. Inventing and telling stories came naturally to me. In order not to fall immediately silent again and perhaps become involved in something worse, I gave a complete display of my narrative powers. Let's move the screen again. One of us, I continued, had to stand guard while the other climbed the tree and shook out the apples. Moreover, the sack had grown so heavy that we had to open it again, leaving half the apples behind. But half an hour later, we had returned and fetched the rest. When I had finished, I waited for approval of some sort. I had warmed to my subject toward the end and been carried away by my own eloquence. The two younger ones kept silent, waiting, but Francie Cromer looked sharply at me out of narrowed eyes and asked threateningly. 자, 화면 더 옮길까요? Is that true? Yes, I said. Really and truly? Yes, really and truly. I insisted stubbornly while choking inwardly with fear. Would you swear to it? I became very afraid, but at once said yes. Then say, by God and the grace of my soul. By God and the grace of my soul, I said. Well, all right, he said, and turned away. Let's move the screen up again. I thought everything was all right now and was glad when he got up and turned to go home. After we had climbed back up to the bridge, I said hesitantly that I would have to head for home myself. You can't be in that much of a hurry, Franz laughed. We are going in the same direction, aren't we? Slowly, he ambled on, and I didn't dare run off. He was in fact walking in the direction of my house. When we stood in front of it, and I saw the front door and the big brass knocker, the sun in the windows, and the curtain in my mother's room, I breathed a sigh of relief. Okay, let's move the screen up. Okay. When I quickly opened the door and slipped in, reaching to slam it shut, Francie Cromer edged in behind me. In the cool tiled passageway, lit only by one window facing the courtyard, he stood beside me, held on to me, and said softly, "Don't be in such a rush, you." I looked at him, terrified. His grip on my arm was like a vice. I wondered what he might have in mind, and whether he wanted to hurt me. I tried to decide whether if I screamed now, screamed loud and piercingly, someone would come down from above quickly enough to save me. But I gave up the idea. Okay, next page. 이번 건 좀 길죠? 왜 그러냐면 이게 이렇게 아주 짤막짤막한 대화글이 많아서 아주 쉽게 여러분이 그냥 지나갈 수 있을 것 같아서 한 페이지 더 많이 했어요. 3페이지예요. What is it? I asked. What do you want? Nothing much. I only wanted to ask you something. The others don't have to hear it. Oh, really? I can't think of anything to say to you. I have to go up, you know? Softly, French Cromer asked. You know who owns the orchard by the mill, don't you? I'm not sure. The miller, I think. French had put his arm around me, and now he drew me so close I was forced to look into his face inches away. His eyes were evil. He smiled maliciously. His face was filled with cruelty and a sense of power. Let's move the screen up. Well, I can tell you for certain whose orchard that is. I've known for some time that someone had stolen apples there and that the man who owns it said he would give 2 marks to anyone who would tell him who swiped them. Oh my God, I exclaimed. You wouldn't do that, would you? I felt it would be useless to appeal to his sense of honor. Okay, let's move the screen up. He came from the other world. Betrayal was no crime to him. I sensed this acutely. The people from the other world were not like us in these matters. Not say anything, laughed Cromer. Kid, what do you take me for? Do you think I own a mint? I am poor. I don't have a wealthy father like you, and I can earn 2 marks. I earn them any way I can. Maybe he'll even give me more. Okay. 제가 감정을 얻다 보니까 제가 아주 프란츠 크로머가 된 것처럼 조금 감정이입이 됐었습니다. 자, 여기까지 오늘 하고요. 다음 시간에 해석을 하겠습니다. 여러분 다음 시간에 봐요. 안녕.